We're going to talk about families of elements. You'll need to read pages 156 to 164 and answer questions 1 through 4 on page 164. So the objective here is to understand what each element family has in common. So let's go through the notes here. We're going to first talk about metals. All the group 1 elements, and group 1 elements would be this group right here. Those are what we call the alkali metals. So alkali metals are group 1 elements. They have 1 valence electron, which they have a tendency to lose because it's easier to lose 1 than it is to gain 7. And since they lose that 1 electron, they lose that 1 negative charge, they've got a +1 charge. And these are soft, shiny, and they react violently to water. And most of the time in nature, the alkali metals are found combined with some other element as part of a compound. The alkaline earth metals, these are the group 2 elements. They have 2 valence electrons because they're in group 2. It's easier to lose 2 than it is to gain 6, so they lose 2 negative charges and have a +2 charge. These are a little bit less reactive than the group 1 elements, but they still have a high tendency to form compounds. The transition metals are everything in groups 3 through 12. So this right here, this area here would be the transition metals. Group 3 all the way over here to group 12 and all the way down. So this little middle section here. Their valence electrons vary. They could have anything from a +1 to a +4 charge. Most are denser, harder, and more stable than group 1 or 2. And then some of these are synthetic, meaning they're man-made. They're not naturally occurring. For nonmetals, group 18 elements are called the noble gases. They're in group 18. If we drop the 1, that means they've got 8 outer shell electrons, with the exception of helium, which has 2 outer shell electrons, which means that in the first energy level, all you have to have is 2 to be full. But all the rest of them have 8. They're inert, which means they're very stable. They're non-reactive. They don't normally form compounds. The halogens are right next to group 18, or the noble gases. These are the group 17 elements. Again, drop the 1 here, and it has 7 valence electrons. So it's easier for them to gain 1 electron, gain 1 negative charge to get a -1 charge, than it is to lose all 7 valence electrons to become stable. These are the most reactive nonmetals, and they combine very easily with alkali metals to form salts. Other groups, 16, 15, and 14, if it's group 16, they've got a -2 charge. Group 15 has a -3 charge, and so on. We will talk a little bit about carbon. Carbon has 4 valence electrons that it has a tendency to share. And there's actually a whole area of chemistry called organic chemistry that deals with carbon compounds. So carbon forms millions of different compounds. And we're not really going to get into that any more than just saying that idea of organic chemistry. Semiconductors are metalloids. These are the elements that are along the stair-step line on the periodic table. Okay, here's my stair-step line here. The one in the back of the room has a red stair-step line. These are called semiconductors, and they conduct heat and electricity only under certain conditions. And then hydrogen. Hydrogen, since it has 1 valence electron, it can either gain 1 electron or lose 1 electron. So it could have either a +1 if it loses an electron, or a -1 charge if it gains 1. And hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe.